We want to introduce you all to Justice for Mica protest leader, Alley Cuozzo, and let her tell you about the movement and how she feels now that she is facing four lawsuits from JP and his Solid Rock cronies. Alley, who is a Myrtle Beach native, has been leading the legal protests outside of JP Miller's churchy business at 803 Howard Avenue in the Market Common neighborhood since May. She started as an attendee at the protest that was held on Mother's Day after Mica's death, and something inspired her to keep the movement going.
What happened was on May 5th, a wonderful woman who I don't think she wants her name out there, she started the very first protest, a huge one, with, I would say, hundreds of people. And that feeling of being there, gave me a sense of empowerment and I was making a difference. Even though I was just one person in a very large crowd, it's still an amazing feeling. And the Sunday after that was Mother's Day. And that was when things were leaking out about the alleged abuse. And I kind of was looking around online, why aren't we still protesting or doing something to let him know that we're not going to let this die down in 2 weeks. So it started off with, I'm sure you're aware of Jackie. We just lost her last month, unfortunately, but she was the one helping me the most behind the scenes to get it up and started. And then once it was started, we just said we're not stopping.
Unfortunately, Jackie died of health issues in January, and I wanted to dedicate this episode to her. This is another reason why this group of women need our support right now. They have had a month of shock and trauma. Alley said that it was important for her to do her part to let JP know that the pressure to get justice for Mica wasn't just going to disappear in 2 weeks like he so badly hoped that it would.
Not only was it just Mica's story and the little bits and pieces we were getting in May, but also it's the fact that this is a beautiful community, Market Commons. It's not very new, but it's pretty new. I would say within the last 15 years it was all built. It used to be the old Air Force Base. It's beautiful, and I will admit Solid Rock was a beautiful building, and it looked so nice in the neighborhood. And for a pastor to have done the things that he's been accused of doing, I couldn't let people keep going in there without warning them. Not only is there potentially abusers in that building, but we also know what other kind of individuals can be in that building. And we don't know all the crimes that have been committed. We only know, what Allison Williams put in her affidavit and what Mica accused him of. But it's a scary thought that anybody can walk into a church and seek comfort and the word of God and me, John Paul Miller.
Alley said that this approach of gently warning members of Solid Rock what JP is accused of, particularly when they have given them legal documents so that they can see evidence for themselves without slant, that has been somewhat effective. In our opinion, it's a very thoughtful, smart, and responsible thing to do. It is not just mobs of protesters screaming, as JP makes them out to be. Alley said that protesters and church members have been able to conduct civil discussions, and week by week, attendance at Solid Rock is dwindling. JP claimed to have around 700 members at his church before Mica died, with members overflowing every nearby parking lot on Sundays. Now, Alley says it's about less than 30 members, and their cars don't even fill up the parking lot that was once bustling when Mica was First Lady of Solid Rock.
Some of them have never even heard the term religious abuse or spiritual abuse, and that's also something I learned actually the month that Mica passed away. I was doing my internship at Coastal, and we had a huge lesson on religious abuse, and I was like, I'm not really sure what this is, but going into the field that I'm going into, I want to learn more about this. And as soon as Mica passed and I heard how religious she was and how allegedly the church was used against her and whatnot, I was kind of mind blown at the timing. It was almost like I don't want to say a perfect storm, but perfect timing, where I learned something new and then I saw it in real life in my own backyard. And the church members, they don't want to believe anything, so we kind of urge them to read only legal documents. Like, you don't have to read things that could possibly be untrue, but we have had civil and respectful conversations with a few of them, a select few.
But not all of the churchy business believers have been civil with the protesters.
And they've said, we're witches and warlocks, and John Paul Miller allegedly has told them that we're just doing the devil's work, and I don't have words. It's really sad because you can tell it's brainwashing, but at some point, who's going to step in and help these people? I don't think all of them are bad. I think a lot of them are lost and need guidance, and they're not getting it.
Unlike iPhone guru, Alley hasn't had any casual chit-chats with John Paul Miller. But during one protest last July, JP Miller did try to speak with Alley when tensions were starting to rise between protesters and the churchy business believers.
It was the day of the sprinklers. He came outside clapping because it was a large group, and he asked for the protest organizer, so he was pointed in my direction. He came up to me and asked if I would go in the church with him to talk, and I said no. And as soon as I said no, he goes and turns the sprinklers on, because he's not used to women telling him no, and I don't think he likes that. That was the same day that Robert Lachelle got charged with 5 assaults for picking up that sprinkler, because it wasn't just a regular sprinkler, it was pressurized. And there were, we're all survivors out there of something on Mica's list. And some girls were wearing white shirts that got wet. One girl just had eye surgery that got sprayed in the face. And it's those little things that he gets his congregation to do for him. I said no to going in the church because I couldn't understand why, if he had something to say to me, why can't he just pull me aside outside with a police officer, beside me and have a conversation? If there was nothing nefarious in his mind, why couldn't we have kept it outside?
The audacity of JP to think that a woman who was well aware of everything he is accused of doing in Mica's list would ever want to go anywhere alone with him for a sit-down chat. I think Alley shocked him when she did not do what he wanted her to do. JP learned in that moment not everyone involved here is looking for exclusive access to him or any access at all. Anyway, tensions between the protesters and JP have been ticking upward with time. Since January 5th, JP Miller and his 3 co-conspirators in legal bullying have filed a combined 33 lawsuits, many of which, if not all, have included motions for restraining orders. So far, at least 3 of those cases have been dismissed. Sources have told us that many of the defendants are working on counterclaims, including motions for reimbursement of attorney fees. Another hearing is scheduled for February 26th in at least 3 of the defendants' cases, including Alley's. And Alley can't say that she was shocked by JP's 33 lawsuits filed this month.
We feared it was coming, because we learned his history with the legal system. So we kind of always expected it. And when I saw online that he was suing me and getting a restraining order, I was completely unbothered. I was like, okay, next step is to just get a lawyer. And I found one outside of Myrtle Beach because allegedly he lawyer shopped all around Myrtle Beach, so we couldn't use anyone here. And one thing I did not expect was to read the lawsuit and start laughing. Honestly. I was reading it with my lawyer too, and he was just laughing.
Alley said that the Justice for Mica movement has changed her life for better and worse. She too, unfortunately, gets harassed by random TikTok accounts on a weekly basis. However, the protesters have found community with each other, all sharing the common goal of raising awareness of coercive control and seeking accountability for how Mica was treated.
So I had a personal trauma happen in 2017. And after that, I got diagnosed with severe PTSD, generalized anxiety, social anxiety, and depression. And in those 8 years, as I was healing from one trauma, another would happen. And so I never really fully healed. And during that period, I feel like I lost my voice. I was so emotionally detached from everything. I was isolating myself. I was already an introvert, but I became even more of an introvert. And I think protesting and starting the Justice for Mica protest just broke me out of the shell that PTSD and everything had put me in. So it gave me my voice back. It gave me my confidence back. I won't say I'm perfect and I don't get triggered, because I absolutely do. I have found a love for advocacy, and I'm in my last semester of getting my bachelor's in psychology, so I did a career change. I am going to go to get my master's in clinical therapy with a focus on trauma, and I really want to help those like Mica who were allegedly abused by coercive control and, the regular domestic violence that we all know, because coercive control is just it's not known. And so for a victim, I feel like they really need someone to be like, that is abuse, that's not okay. And just because it doesn't leave a mark doesn't mean it's not abuse.
Alley said once she got past the initial whiplash of getting hit with 4 lawsuits, and the GoFundMe has helped calm her nerves with paying for a lawyer to represent a group of them, and after she and her lawyer took a serious look at JP's silly allegations and lack of evidence, she is more inspired than ever to continue to fight for Mica.
I think it'll have the opposite effect, mostly because we're seeing what he did in the past, allegedly abusing the legal system, and it only makes, I'm just going to speak for myself, because yes, there are a lot of people involved in these lawsuits, and some of them might be scared, so I don't want to discredit their feelings. So I just want to say I'm speaking for myself. It only makes me want to be louder, honestly, and speak the truth more.
I will speak for everyone at Lunashark when I say we are with you, Alley. Keep speaking the truth. Keep getting louder. To donate to the protesters' fight against JP, check the link for the GoFundMe in the description. Stay tuned, stay pesky, and stay in the sunlight.